Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Jack, and today I'm going to teach you exactly how to land celebrity guests on your podcast. Now, if you are brand new to podcasting or if you've been doing it for a while, don't worry, because I'm going to be breaking down this system from 0 all the way through to 100. I'm even going to give you the exact email and DM scripts that we use to land celebrity guests like Sarah Almadani, Ty Lopez, Ali Abdal, Andrew Bustamante, right? All of these people have millions of followers and subscribers across all of their channels. So if you want to land guests like this, then pay attention, because the next 10 minutes are going to be super valuable for you. Now, if you're wondering, if this is the first time you're here, you're like, who is this guy and what does he have to teach me about podcasting? Okay. So over the last 5 years, I've launched over 22 podcasts into the top 100. Here we got some screenshots: number 6, 37, 6, 9, even getting number 1 in New Zealand. I've taught podcasting frameworks and skills and editing and stuff like that in front of thousands of entrepreneurs all across Australia. I've invested, multi 5 figures in learning from the best creators in the world, even up here, like Calls with Alex Hormozy. Here's a couple of screenshots from the YouTube channels from a few of the shows we manage. All right, so let's get into the framework. So it's important to note that if you're wanting to climb the ranks and land celebrity guest or dream guest, as I'm going to be calling him in this video, you need to understand the hierarchy of guests. Now, this ladder right here is totally, dependent on where you actually are. So your base guests, they are people that are already in your camera roll. They are people that you may already follow on Instagram, you're already friends on Facebook, whatever it is for you, okay? If you're further along, maybe you're already successful and you've got quite a substantial network, your base guests might be the equivalent of someone else's reach guests. Okay, so the concept still stands depending where you're actually at. So your base guests, I call them like the 3 Fs. All right, so friends, family, and then anyone foolish enough to get within 3 feet of you. So those are your base guests, people that you can reach out and touch. Your reach guests are people that are typically like a few connections away. So they're not out of reach, but they are someone you should aspire towards, and you might need to put a little bit of work in order to form a connection with them. So these might be sort of industry leaders, okay? I'm not going to type it all out. Industry leaders, so influencers, all that kind of stuff, okay? Your dream guests, now these are the people that it's like, one day I want to interview Oprah. One day I want to interview Tony Robbins. Like, your dream guests are the people that you are aspiring towards. They're the things that get you excited. Like, if I were to interview Theo Von, like that would just be game over. I could die happy. Those are your dream guests, right? Now, the dream guests, they have a lot of people reaching out to them. They're typically a lot of people's dream guests. They're very busy, they're doing a lot of shit, and they have a lot of people reaching out to them. So in order to get in order to get their attention, essentially, you have to be different. And that's why this strategy is super important. Okay? So this framework here, this ladder, is guaranteed to land you your dream guests. It's going to be a lot shorter for some people, and it might be a little bit longer for some people, but it is guaranteed. If you follow the protocol, you will land your dream guest. But there are 2 things that you really need to take into account right now, and you must know this. So the fastest way to ascend up your ladder is to make sure that every single time you do an interview, you are maximizing your efforts and maximizing your connections. Now, what does that actually look like? So every interview, you want to get something that's called a referral, okay? So that means after every interview you do, you say to the person, whether it's on Zoom or in person, hey, that was a fantastic interview. I really loved when you said this and said that. Like, I'm definitely going to go ahead and implement this. Do you have anyone that you would recommend I get on the show? Are you friends with anyone that you think would be a great fit for the show? And what they're going to say is something along the lines of like, oh yeah, Sarah would absolutely crush it here. She's the person who's the biggest in bar. She's awesome at this. Like, she would absolutely crush it here. Or, Phil is this. And what you want to do is you want to try and get sort of like 1 to 3 referrals. And when they say and recommend those people, rather than just going, okay, awesome, I'll reach out to them, you want to take it an extra layer further. All right. So 1 to 3 people. And then you want to say, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Jim. Can you connect us in a WhatsApp chat or in a messenger chat, in an email chain, whatever it is? It's very important that they connect you, because what that's going to do, that is going to bypass a lot of the filtration mechanism that person might have built into their systems, depending on, where their success level is. If they're a reach guest or a dream guest, like, chances are they've probably got a bunch of filtration before any communication gets through to them. So referrals are a way of bypassing that. All right. Now, as the second thing to remember, now this applies mostly to dream guests, sometimes to reach guests as well, but mostly to dream guests, is they typically have 2 seasons. Now, this is what I call a PR cycle. Okay. Now, for any PR people on here, you're probably like, hey, you're misusing that term, but shut the fuck up. I don't care. All right. So what I call a PR cycle is essentially 2 seasons. So they have the build phase, and then they have the promo phase. Okay. Now this works in seasons. Ow, horsefly. Okay. So the build phase is where they're creating the thing that they want to sell. They're writing the book, they're creating the funnels, they're building the course, they're creating the TV show, whatever that might look like for them. And then the promo phase is, as you suggest, this is when they're wanting to promote it. Now the perfect example of this recently is Matthew McConaughey. He was quiet for about 12 months. You didn't really see him in any kind of media at all. And then all of a sudden he pops out and he went on every major podcast under the sun, like Diary of a CEO, Joe Rogan, Your Mum's House, Two Bears, One Cave, Modern Wisdom, like the biggest podcasts in the space, he was on them and all releasing at the same time. And then you realize why, because he just dropped a brand new book and he was trying to promote it. So the agents for those particular podcasts might have been reaching out to him for weeks, months, years. Maybe they weren't reaching out to him at all, and then Matthew McConaughey's agent might have reached out to them. Regardless, it doesn't matter. There's a cycle where he was building and wouldn't have taken any invites, and then there's a cycle where he's promoting and he wants to be on every single show. Now, in the next section, I'm going to show you how we can leverage that cycle in your outreach and in your communication to actually make your invitation feel like a win-win situation, even if, quote unquote, you think these guests are way out of your reach. Okay, because the vast majority of people are just going to be talking at them and asking, but you're actually going to be coming from a place of understanding and a place of authenticity, which is going to cut through the noise. Okay, so to rehash, referrals 1 to 3, make sure they actually connect you in a chat, and then understand the PR cycle, build and promo. Okay, now here is the actual outreach scripts that we use. So there's 2 main outreach channels that we use: email and then DMs. So with email, use whatever connection you can get, whatever email you can get your hands on, sign up to their newsletter, use the support email on their website. Like, you'll be surprised when you reach out in the right way how this information can make its way back to them. Okay, use whatever email that you can get your hands on. I highly doubt you're going to get their custom email. One thing that I have tried in the past as well, which has worked quite well, I've sent, say for instance, it's a really large business person you're trying to get a hold of. Typically, their email might be first name, business domain. So you can try, jim@jimsmowing.com.au, right? Or jim.lastname@jimsmowing. And send it, and if they bounce, that email doesn't exist. But if it goes through, then that might be going through to someone. So it's just a little side hack here, okay? So what the email actually looks like is, hey, whatever their name is, include a personal appreciation. So I'm going to use Ty Lopez, for instance. So I might write, hey Ty, I really appreciate all the years that you've spent making courses on digital marketing. When I first started business 10 years ago, I got your course and it was one of the main springboards that kickstarted my success. So I really appreciate that. And then you want to go into the part that really makes you stand out from the rest. This is where you're acknowledging what they're trying to do right now, and this is where you're basically laying on a silver platter. This is why this opportunity would be interesting for you. So I know my audience would be really interested in the thing that you are promoting. All right. So say for instance, Ty Lopez is releasing a course on AI. I know my audience would be really interested in AI marketing moving into 2026. Okay, whatever the thing is that they're promoting. Would you be against connecting for an interview on the show, even for just 20 minutes? Now, what this does is, would you be against is a disarmer. They don't have to agree to be for it, and they're not necessarily saying that no, but they can be like, I'm not against it. I'm not for it, but I'm not against it. So it's just like a little bit of a move in the right direction. And then another disarmer is even for just 20 minutes. So they don't have to commit to a big thing right there and then. You're a stranger, remember? And then when you're actually communicating the logistics, 9 times out of 10, you'll probably end up getting more than 20 minutes. But even if you only get 20 minutes, it's 20 minutes with your dream guest. all right? And then finally, your social proof. Now, this is just a subtle organic way of you saying, hey, I've kind of been around the block a little bit. I'm not a complete amateur. So my recent episodes with name drop biggest guests helped a lot of people. All right, very simple. Make sure that the name drops you put in there are relevant. Like, there's no point name dropping someone with 1 million subscribers if the person you're trying to reach out to has no clue who they are. So your biggest guest, but make sure they're relevant, and then just kind regards and sign off with your name. Really simple. All right. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it too long. If this email gets too long, it won't get read. Now, DM outreach. Now, this is something that can just be happening at all times, and again, it really needs to be organic and it needs to be personal. So, on all of their social channels, make sure that you're reaching out to them in an organic way. So respond back to their content. Maybe even send them a photo from one of their carousels or something like that with a personal touch. Be like, oh, this unlocked a core memory for me. I remember 6 years ago I was watching one of your videos and you said this, and that was like a shifting moment for me, blah, blah, blah. Like, really make sure you're standing out from the crowd, because what the vast majority of people that are in their DMs are, they're either, just fanboys or fangirls that are just, wanting them for their status, or they're a bunch of, boring messages that other personal brands have maybe hired a VA to be like, hey, go and message and engage with all these people that fit XYZ criteria. Okay, so people that have been around the block, celebrities, business personalities, they see that kind of shit. So after you get a response, this is very important, after you get a response, continue the conversation like a normal human being. You're a podcaster, so I'm not going to give you the framework for how to be a human, but just continue the conversation. Then after the second response, this is where you start to move the conversation in the direction of where you want to go. So you ask them, how is everything going with the thing that they're wanting to promote? How is everything going with the book tour? How is everything going with the new course you're launching? Wait for their response. And then you want to, again, reply like a human and acknowledge the thing that they said. If they said, how's everything going with the book tour? Oh, the book tour has been awesome, met some really, really cool people, exhausting though. You'd be like, yeah, I bet, I see you in fucking 50 states in the last 6 months, so I bet you're exhausted. Whatever that is, right? And then you want to say, I know my audience would be really interested in whatever the thing is that is relevant to what they're promoting. So I know my audience would be really interested in hearing your perspective on AI moving into 2026, okay? And then the final line, which is a new line, okay? It's important you send it as a new message. Would you be against connecting on my podcast, even for 20 minutes? My episode with name drop, helped a lot of people. And you can just leave it at that, okay? So what's important to note here, when you're going after dream guests, not only are there cycles, build and promo cycles, that mean you need to stay relevant and continue following up even if you are getting crickets. What's also important to know is I've seen a bunch of times where people have just ended up going on, podcasts that maybe didn't necessarily deserve to have a guest that big, just purely because they were relentless. Okay, so reach out and reach out and reach out and continue to reach out. Now, what's important to note as well, this is another methodology of getting dream guests on your podcast, is actually making a podcast that warrants dream guest attention, okay? And this is what we actually do. I recorded a whole video about this. So when you have a podcast that's getting, 1.2 million views per episode, maybe 50K views per episode, you're going to naturally start to get the attention of people that are further and further along in their journey, because you're in the caliber where getting on a podcast, spending half a day to get 1.2 million views is like, hey, that's worth it to them, okay? So if you're currently got a bunch of episodes that are maybe, anywhere between 90 to 1,000 views, the chances of a dream guest just finding you organically or saying yes on the first outreach are slimmer than they would be if your stats looked like this on the right-hand side, okay? So as you can see here, this video, less than 300 views. I tweaked some things here and we got, 47,000 views. You can see what the graph looked like here. We did it a bunch of times, okay? So if you've got a bunch of videos already that's probably good content, but haven't got the views, haven't got the success you want, then go ahead and watch this video right here, because I'm going to teach you how to renovate them and give them a whole new lifespan that will add at least another 10,000 views into your pipeline. But also with the lessons that I teach you in that video, you're going to make sure that your new videos get traction from the start and continue to grow long into the future. So go ahead and watch this video right here. It's going to be super valuable. Maybe it's on that side. Okay. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.